What up, what up, what up, Ethers? And welcome to another edition of SportsEthos DFS Today. This is your Friday, November 26th edition. I'm bringing this one special to you on Thanksgiving morning, doing this one bright and early. My name is Santino, and I will be your host today. We have a nice 12-game slate coming up for you with an early preview on Thanksgiving Day, giving you guys everything you need to know early on before news breaks late, but you'll be able to rest up for the holidays. See this one bright and early. Yeah, we don't have any spreads as of right now. We don't have a full injury report. Yeah, most teams played last night, but we do know the general census of most of the things that are coming up here. So we'll make this one nice and quicker. Usually we have one showdown slate. A game is going to start at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we have an 11-game main slate for all of the fans out there that like the main slate, like myself. We have a couple teams on back-to-back, or front ends of back-to-backs that we'll get to. But for the most part, we are ready to rock and roll for this slate. Without further ado, let's jump into it. The first game on the docket, as I mentioned, is that game that tips off at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. That's the Pistons traveling to the West Coast to take on the Clippers. Again, there are no spreads as of right now for any of these games, but we don't need one for the showdown slate anyway. On Detroit, we know Kelly Olynyk is out. Killian Hayes has been out. Frank Jackson got hurt the other night. And Isaiah Stewart was suspended, so he should be back for this one. On the Clippers, we know Batum is out on health and safety protocols, and Kawhi Leonard is out with that ACL. And those are the two big ones there. We'll start with the Pistons. I mean, traveling to Los Angeles to take on one of the best defensive teams in the league in the Clippers, it's not a position that many want to envy. But without Killian Hayes, possibly, without Frank Jackson, possibly, Corey Joseph does make more sense. I'm not ever one to endorse Corey Joseph, but now without those two guys, he's going to get a ton of run there. Cade Cunningham as well. Jeremy Grant at 9.6. I prefer him over Sadiq Bey if possible. Those guys I'm looking at. Obviously, we'll have some value here too. Josh Jackson, Diallo, especially Diallo at 2,800. If Frank and Killian Hayes don't play, then that's just they're going to get minutes, and that's where I'd want to run to. Trey Lyles, Luka Garza had themselves a decent game without Isaiah Stewart, but he's only suspended one game, so I expect him to be back in this one, and I also don't mind him at 5,400. I think there's some value here if you don't want to go to Grant and Cunningham and spend that money. Stewart, Joseph for mid-range tier. Jackson and Diallo, very cheap, very good options here. They're going to be in the rotation, especially, again, if Hayes and or Jackson are out of the lineup, and I expect probably one of them to be out of the lineup. And Jackson didn't return to the game, sprained his ankle. Killian Hayes hasn't played in a couple games. So, yeah, Diallo and Josh Jackson are probably the two best cheap options to plug in your lineup here. Then we'll jump on over to the other side of the ball. Probably going to want to have exposure to Paul George in this matchup. It's a showdown slate. There's no better options than him. If Batum is out, Marcus Morris Sr., who jumped right back into the starting lineup and crazily played 31 minutes. I thought he was going to get eased in, like they said. He played 31 minutes right in this game back. He's 6,400. Obviously, everybody's more expensive in a showdown slate, but my lord, in a team that he used to, against the team that he used to play for, if his minutes are already there, 31, no Batum doesn't have to worry about it. Yeah, I don't mind looking at Marcus Morris's way either. Terrence Mann, Isaiah Hartenstein, two other guys that I'd keep an eye on. They're very cheap, 5,200 and 3,400 respectively. Serge Ibaka is back, but he's not playing a lot at all. He has one game on the season over 8 minutes. So Hartenstein is still the backup center as of right now. And this is a matchup where he could see extended garbage time. He could see 20 minutes or so here. And we know when he gets 19, 20 minutes, he can bring back value. Just look at the last 2 times he played 19 and 20 minutes a couple games ago. He brought back at least 30 fantasy points. So I got to take a chance on if you need people on the cheap side of the ball here, which you might. You could just stack up on the top of the lineup and take some chances lower in this environment of what I expect to be a very big, at least 8-point spread with the Clippers at home here. All right, let's jump on over to that main slate. We have 11 games. 3 of them start at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's jump into the first. We have Minnesota traveling to Charlotte to take on the Hornets, formerly known as the Bobcats. Shout out to Will. All right, we don't have anybody on the injury report as of yet. But we do have a couple people that we can look out for. Patrick Beverley left the last game, did not return. Something to keep an eye on. And that's likely it for that team. PJ Washington made his highly weighted return. So there's nobody on the Hornets as of right now. Let's jump to the Wolves. They are the away team here. Edwards at 7.5. Still a solid price tag. Him and Russell are going to be in very good matchups. I prefer Edwards. His upside is just much bigger. We've seen even in games that he shoots poorly, he's grabbing rebounds. Last game he grabbed 14. The game before that 7. He does have a stinker in there with a 0, but he has multiple games of double-digit rebounds here. He pitches in and assists. Sometimes he gets 1. Sometimes he gets 6. The upside is there, though. And we know about his scoring prowess. He dropped 69.5 points last game, and he got that monster dunk taken away from him. So Anthony Edwards makes a lot of sense here. Towns is going to be in a really good matchup, too. Probably have just more exposure to Edwards in general with that $2,000 discount. But Towns is in a very good spot, and I can't hate him. Jared Vanderbilt, another guy to keep an eye on. He's creeping towards the 5K range now, but 3 straight games of over 31 fantasy points, 4 straight games of over with double-digit rebounds. This guy is just ripping down boards. Every time I say that, I always think of the Dave Chappelle skit when he's playing as Prince, ripping down boards like Charles Barkley. But my Lord, Vanderbilt is on fire right now, and I will ride the wave. We know that the stocks are there. The guy's just racking up stocks. On the year, he's averaging slightly under a block a game, but 1.5 steals. He's averaging over 2 stocks a game. The steals are legit, and he adds blocks in there when in some games, and this is a game that I would expect him to do that. 4 straight games of double-digit rebounds. He only has 1 double-digit scoring effort in that span, but he is bringing back value right now, and I think we can look to it again in a very high-paced matchup against the Hornets, who just run up and down the court here. And that's pretty much it. Malik Beasley is a guy I'll consider because Patrick Beverley did get hurt. Beasley might slide into that starting lineup in this one. We did see him in last night's game. He played 38 minutes and dropped nearly 40 fantasy points. So if Beverley is going to miss this one, Malik Beasley makes for one of the better under 4K plays, maybe possibly the highest upside one in this matchup. At only 3,900, there could possibly be 30-plus minutes for him in this without Beverley. So that is what I'm definitely keeping an eye on that news, and I would expect many people to do that as well. On the Charlotte side of the ball, they're in a pretty good matchup too. The Wolves aren't the run and gun team that they were the last 2 years under the previous coach, under Saunders, but they still can give up points in bunches. Here for me though, I'm looking Gordon Hayward at 6.7 is just a really good price tag. I would prefer to just go to Anthony Edwards at $800 more. But I put him in my player pool too at 6,700 and Kelly Oubre at 4,200. I know PJ Washington's back, but he only played 6 minutes in that first one. So they're going to ease him back in. And he didn't really play a ton of minutes when he was healthy anyway. So that is something to consider. Kelly Oubre, 4,200, is still playing pretty good chunk of minutes. He's averaging mainly in the 20s, and 2 of the last 4 games he played 30-plus minutes. So there is value to be found here. He might not hit that 30-minute plateau, but it's nice to – I don't mind giving him shots in tournaments in case he does. So he's one of the guys that I'll take a shot on. And then Gordon Hayward is just a rock-solid price. I know he's been up and down this year, but this is a matchup that works very well and works in his favor. Probably going to see a lot of Beasley or Edwards. He could take advantage of that matchup. All right, jumping on over to the next game, we have the Phoenix Suns traveling across the country to take on the New York Knicks. This is at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I expect a lower game total, and I expect that probably the Suns are favored by 3 or 4. It's going to be pretty close. On the injury report, we know Frank Kaminsky and Dario Saric are out. Abdel Nader's always on that injury report as questionable. Mitch Robb, Taj Gibson, Derrick Rose missed last game, so they will likely be on the injury report again for the Knicks. On the Suns side of the ball, the Knicks have just been getting abused on defense this year. They have not been the Alexa thinks I was talking to her. Alexa, stop. Annoying sometimes, huh? I didn't say anything to her, but she's still talking to me. Yeah, the Knicks have been getting abused on defense. That's where I was, I believe. And it's just not a Tom Thibodeau team. It looks just very, very different from what we're used to with them. That said, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, all are in smash spots. We might not have Mitch Robb again. We might not have Taj Gibson. I really like Ayton at 7-4. I think that discount is comparatively. I know he's not going to score as many points, but that is rock solid for me. I prefer Booker over Paul, though I have the caveat that this may be Paul's last game in the Garden. You never know. I don't know how many years he's got left. 8-3 last game in the Garden. I don't mind going there, but that's just another type of reason. But I think Booker is the better play here at $200 more. Probably not going to have too much exposure to the rest of this team. Everybody's fair price there, and I'll look at Booker and Ayton as the most. Jumping on over to the Knicks side of the ball, it's going to be a lot of it's going to hinge on that front court to me. The back court is still a work in progress. If Derrick Rose doesn't play, opens up minutes for everybody. We saw Fournier take advantage of the last one. Quickly's been playing pretty good lately. Burke's been playing a lot of minutes. Kemba is hit or miss, but I really don't want to take a chance on too many of those guys against this Suns defense. Not going to go Randall here or Barrett. The options that I like the most: Noel, Mitch, Taj, Obi Toppin. I want to see who exactly starts in the front court, who's available in the front court. It could be just the Nerlens Noel show again, and that would help Obi Toppin as well. He'd be the backup big at 3,600. Noel is only 4,400. Mitch could play. If he plays, 4K is not a bad price tag. If Mitch is out and Taj plays, I don't mind taking a chance at him at 3. So that I'm looking in the front court here. We got to get notice and word on who's actually in and who's out here. If they're all playing, probably not going to have much exposure to any of them. I think all the minutes chop up, and it's just not a matchup that I want to attack there if they're all playing there. All right, jumping on over to the next game, we have the Chicago Bulls taking on the Orlando Magic. I expect the Bulls to be about an 8-point road favorite, and the overall the spread to be about 218, 220 or so. Right now, we just know that Patrick Williams is out for the Bulls. And on the Magic side, Cole Anthony's been missing time. Terrence Ross missed the last game. Fultz, Carter Williams, Etuan Moore, Jonathan Isaac are not playing. We'll start with the Bulls, that side of the ball. And, man, everybody's going to be in a smash spot here. We have Vooch going against his former team. He only played 26 minutes in that last one. It was his first game in 2 weeks. And he still had 14, 13.4 assist, double-double here. 6 of 16 shooting. The 16 shots are nice as seeing that over 40 fantasy points. But I prefer Zach LaVine over him. We just know the usage is there. Zach has been going off. He's actually $100 cheaper, which is crazy to think about since he hasn't missed any time or anything like that. So I don't mind going Zach. Lonzo at 6'8" is a rock solid price tag in this matchup. We saw him coming off of he went 7 of 11, 5 of 7 from 3 off of an 0 for 7 shooting performance. He dropped 41 fantasy points in the last one. I think he can get over 30 again, 35 in this one, which will bring back value here. It's a solid matchup for him, and we might not have Cole Anthony, who's been playing really well on defense. Alex Caruso at 5,200. The guy's just been a gamer. I know he came off the bench in the last one. He still played 33 minutes, 15 points, most actual points scored in quite some time here. But he does a little bit of everything, and we know that. He's leading the league in steals. He's grabbing a solid amount of rebounds, almost 4 per game, but that's been picking up over the last 10 days, 6. He's averaging over 4 assists. He's just been phenomenal, over 2 steals. And I think 5,200 is right on the line. I think in this matchup, though, I like him to beat that price tag a little bit. Outside of that, not too thrilled with anybody. I think most of these guys like Jones, White, now that he's back, Green, Brown, they're all going to chop minutes for the backup spot. And while there will be likely blowout minutes here, especially if Cole Anthony and Terrence Ross don't play, I don't really want to take my chances on them. It's such a big slate. We don't need to. Going on the other side, yeah, Cole Anthony, Terrence Ross, it's going to be big news to watch out for. Cole Anthony's been missing a few games now, and we've seen different combinations of people start. We saw Hampton get some run here. We saw Harris start. Ross. I think Jalen Suggs is going to likely start at point guard again, if that's the case. And I do like him if he is starting there and he's getting there. He's been playing really solid lately. 4 out of the last 5 games, over 28 fantasy points. Just one clinker of a 2 for 8 and in just 17 minutes in there. We'll wipe that one out. The rest of them, he played at least 25 minutes, and he brought back 28 fantasy points. So point per minute guy right now. He's getting a lot of shots. He's not making a ton of them, but especially if he's running point guard and Cole Anthony's not there, there's a lot of extra room to maneuver there. And at 5,200, I can take a shot at him, and he'll likely bring back value there. Outside of that, I think you can look at Franz Wagner, and Okeke, and even, dare I say, Gary Harris. If there's no Cole Anthony, he started in the last one. He played 35 minutes in that last one, brought back 25 fantasy points at 3,200. I mean, yeah, you can definitely take a shot at him. If Cole Anthony or even Terrence Ross play, I likely won't look at him. But at 3,200, if he's going to draw the start, yeah, he'll definitely be in people's player pools. Franz Wagner has been playing pretty well. And again, if those two guys are out, there's more minutes around for the rotation. It shuffles. He could see 30 minutes in that scenario. He brought back 31 fantasy points in the last one. In 3 of the last 4 games. Ooh, actually, I should say 4 of the last 5 games in which he saw, in all those games, he saw 29 minutes. He's brought back at least 28 fantasy points in 3 games of 31 fantasy points. So again, if those two guys are out, or even just Cole, there's going to be more minutes available for him. And if he can hit that 29 plateau mark, we know that he's bringing back pretty much a point per minute, over a point per minute. So I do like Franz there as well. And I mentioned Okeke. Only if those other two guys are out, there's more minutes available for him. And I don't mind taking the 3,600, though I would rather just spend down for Gary Harris or spend up for Franz. If you want to be the contrarian, as my friends like to say, then I don't mind going there. But I do prefer the other two more, and Jalen Suggs is the other guy I'm looking at here. All right, jumping on over to the first game that starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Toronto Raptors traveling to Indiana to take on the Pacers. On the injury report, we would likely have OG as questionable, Kemba as questionable. Those two missed the last one. OG missed a couple. And then on the Pacers side of the ball, we know TJ Warren is out, and then we know that there are random people in and out of this lineup all the time here. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But we'll start with the Raptors side of the ball. OG would be in a great spot here at 7-4 if he was playing, but I highly doubt it. With that said, Scotty Barnes, 6'7", coming off a nice game, a nice 17-9 game and a double-double before that. Makes some sense here. I like some Scotty Barnes there. Uh, though Gary Trent Jr. also at 5,900. This guy's just been eating minutes. I thought his minutes would come down when Siakam was back, but then OG went out. Then some of the center options were out. This guy's just going to continue playing a ton of minutes. I don't mind taking a chance at that at 5,900, especially in this matchup. And then we have the center position. Probably going to leave Siakam alone, though that's not a terrible matchup. I would prefer Van Vliet right over him at $200 cheaper right now. But I'm looking at that center spot. Ken Burke might not play again. That means Precious and Boucher get extra minutes there. And with Boucher seemingly always in the doghouse, I'm looking at Precious. And he's just been really good when he's played right now. 5 of the last 6 games, he's brought back at least 26 fantasy points, and he's only 4,100. So the value is to be had there if Birch doesn't play. If Birch does play, that's they're all going to get minutes, and Siakam's going to play some 5. Even without OG, we'll still see him playing some 5. So I wouldn't go to any of them if that's the case. But if Burke is out, Precious at 4,100 makes a lot of sense for me there as well. All right, jumping on over to the other side of the ball. The Raptors are a defensive team that sometimes struggles on defense. So go figure. But they're missing OG, who's one of their better defenders. That said, they can take advantage here. I do like Miles Turner at 6K in this matchup. I think that value, he could hit value. I don't think his upside is huge, but for cash games, I think it's pretty good. Sabonis and Brogdon get a little bump down in the matchup, so I'm not going to fully rush there, especially with Sabonis not showing the huge upside that he's been. But Turner is the one guy I do like, and LeVert with his depressed price tag now at 5,600. I think you can take a shot at him. Not safe. He's not getting the volume that you'd expected, especially with everybody. They're like pretty much the starters are all getting their own, but no one's eating, I should say. They're all getting a piece of the pie, but no one's eating extra pieces. No one's going back for seconds, pretty much, unless it's Brogdon, then Sabonis getting like a half of extra slice there. But I don't really want to fully run to anyone. I don't mind Turner in cash games, but I don't think the upside is crazy for any of these guys, especially with the way Toronto plays. All right, jumping on over to the next game, we have Atlanta. The Atlanta Hawks going to Memphis to take on the Grizzlies. On the injury report, we know DeAndre Hunter is out. We know Okongwu is out for Atlanta. And for Memphis, we know DeAnthony Melton is out. And then it's also, like I mentioned before, with another team, it's Memphis. So we don't know who's in, who's out here. We'll start with the Atlanta Hawks. And they're all in a great spot with the way the Grizzlies play. The Grizzlies are giving up. They're in the bottom 2, giving up points in the league right now, just in bunches. Their field goal percentage against, people are just shooting the lights out against them. And then they're also shooting great too. And so it's just going to be a shootout here. But you can look at a lot of these guys. Trae Young at 93. I think the price is a little high, but it's a fantastic matchup. So I don't. He's one of the guys that I'll play to in tournaments to differ from the crowd. Maybe not so much cash, but we know that he has 60-point upside. He did it in the last game, and 5 games before that he had 72 points. So we know that's there, and this is just a really, really good matchup for him. So don't hate going there. I think Capella makes a lot of sense at 7.5. The Grizzlies have been kind of weird with how they don't know exactly how they want to do their front court. They're still starting Adams, but Jaren Jackson Jr. has been migrating a lot to the 5. They started with Tillman as the backup 5, and now they're pushing Jackson there and playing a lot more of Brandon Clark, whether it's the 4 or 5. They have so many options, the Grizzlies. I think they just need to make a trade, but that's for another day. But Capella, this is a very good matchup for him. Whoever's out there, he's going to have a chance to gobble up a lot of rebounds. Jackson isn't a great rebounder. Steven Adams has been right now. So he'll have a chance to gobble up a lot of rebounds and get some quality looks, garbage points down low and when he gets his offensive rebounds and whatnot. Danilo Gallinari at 4,400 is another guy I'll look at, and Cam Reddish. Gallinari's playing a very nice role right now. Since Hunter went out, he's been playing minutes and minutes and minutes. Last night, he shot 1 of 4 from the field, but 8 of 8 from the free throw line. He had 17 fantasy points before the two games before that, 27 and 35, then a stinker, and then 29 before that. He's a tournament guy, not a fantastic high upside guy, but he can definitely bring you back 20 to 30 fantasy points in this matchup, especially with the way they play. Cam Reddish at only 3,700. He's seeing low 20s minutes, but we know he has the ability to score the basketball. And if he's scoring the basketball, he's going to see more run. 3,700, that's a good opportunity to take a chance on him in a matchup that both these teams are going to score a lot in. All right, Memphis side of the ball. I mentioned Trey. Ja has been playing fantastic as well. Don't really want to run to him here at 9,600. The Hawks aren't the defensive team that the Grizzlies are, so there's a lot more options on the other side of the ball. And I forgot to mention Bogdanovich is another one at his price tag. Over here, we'll see who's in and who's out.
Is that Dunkin's new holiday blend coffee?
Sure is, because sometimes the holidays just call for Dunkin'.
What's in it? A spark of holiday spirit?
A cup full of holiday cheer?
Your very own holiday shopper?
Actually, all that, and notes of molasses and dried fruit. Just the warming blend I need for that holiday hustle.
Sit through the holidays with the $2 medium holiday blend coffee at Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
Hello, Discover here to explain our cash back match. Here's how it works. We give you cash back for using your Discover card on the things you were going to buy anyway. Then we match that cash back in your first year. And that's why we call it Cashback Match. Now to recap and say cashback one more time. We match all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year automatically. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
We know that Dillon Brooks has been in and out of the lineup since he's come back. They haven't really done the rest for Jaren Jackson yet, but that's always a possibility. We'll quite see, but we'll all assume everybody's in. I think Brandon Clark makes a lot of sense at 3,500. Another under 4K option that we can look at. 4 of the last 5 games, he's brought back at least 23 fantasy points. The guy's field goal percentage has been phenomenal. The only game he hasn't brought back that, he only shot 1 of 3 from the field. But even in limited minutes, he's just shooting the lights out. Well, I'll just go to the last 5 games. 7 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5, 1 of 3, 7 of 9, 5 of 5. The last 2 games, though, against Utah and Toronto, he has seen 26 minutes. And this is a matchup against a big front court, Collins and Capella, that he can see, again, 20-plus minutes. And if he's seeing 20 minutes, I see no reason why he's not going to put up 20 fantasy points or plus and bring back value here. He knows how to rebound. He's not taking threes like he did last year in his rookie year, but he can block shots. He can grab steals, and he scores the basketball at an elite efficiency. So yes, 3,500. That's super cheap for me. I'll take a shot at him. But outside of them, going up a little bit. I mean, Dillon Brooks at 5'9" and Jaren Jackson Jr., they're more tournament plays for me. I think the price tag is there for them to beat it. I don't think they necessarily will always, they're a lock to do it, but they both take a lot of shots, and they're both high usage or more high usage guys, so there is a chance there. Dillon Brooks has been shooting the ball a lot better this year than he has normally. He's shooting 44% from the field on the year and he missed most of the time, and 37% from 3. He usually takes a lot more shots, and he usually is shooting around like 41% the last couple of years. So he's been on, and Jaren Jackson Jr., we know he has the ability to. They're more flyers for me. I don't think they're safe. They can easily not bring back value. So I don't mind taking chances on them in tournaments, but cash games, I'm going to leave them alone. I think Brandon Clark's the only guy I'll play in both. All right, on the other side, on the next game of the night, we have the Washington Grizzlies. Wow. The Washington Wizards taking on the Oklahoma City Thunder at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We don't have an injury report again, but we do know Thomas Bryant is not going to play. On the Thunder, we know Shai is in a weird what did he say? He said he's going to take it week by week, or he's in it for the long haul. So I don't know if Shai's going to play. That's just really weird how they keep doing this to him. And that's all we have on the injury report for that. On the Wizards side, I think you can, even though he's going to be splitting time, I think Hero makes some sense here. 24 minutes in the last one, 27, 25. He's not going to play 30 minutes, but he can fill up the stat sheet. I don't think the upside is crazy, but he's a possibility there. Caldwell Pope and Advia at their cheap price tag, 42 and 38, are two guys that I consider, but I don't love. Most of this team I don't really love. It's just everybody's playing pretty well. The team is playing pretty well, and they're not all bringing back value. I don't mind taking a chance at Hero in this matchup, but I don't love it as well. Again, for the most part, unless there's people missing, I'm probably just going to leave the Wizards alone here, even in a great matchup. But it could turn out to a blowout again, especially without Shai in this one. So we'll see what happens. On the other side of the ball, we don't have Shai. Likely, I shouldn't say we don't have him. We likely don't have Shai, so we'll see exactly what they do here. But Josh Giddey at 6,500 would make a lot of sense. The last two games, 31 and 34 minutes. He's brought back 40 and 38 fantasy points. He's bringing back 30 now consistently for the last 6 games, at least 30 fantasy points. If Shai's not there, he's going to be running the offense he's going to take a lot of that usage and a lot of that ball handling that Shai does. And we know he can fill the stat sheet even if his shot's not hitting. So I do like him here. Don't really like much of anything else except James Robinson, Earl, and Bazley. I don't hate him, but I don't love him either in this matchup. Bazley's been pretty hit or miss here, but without Shai, there's more shots to go around. At 4,800, you can look there. And James Robinson, Earl is starting. He's now getting minutes in the higher 20s or low 30s. Back-to-back double-doubles, 13 actual points in 3 straight games. Guy's starting to click, and at 4,300, I think that's a very good value here. Even if he goes 8 and 8 again, he's going to bring back value here. So Robinson Earl is my favorite play, and Josh Giddey is for the upside. All right, next game, we have an 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start. We have the Boston Celtics traveling to San Antonio to take on the Spurs. On the injury report, Josh Richardson, Robert Williams, been missing a few games. We'll keep an eye on that on the Boston side of the ball. Devin Vassell got hurt in the last one, so we might not be in for this one. McDermott's been missing a couple games, and Zach Collins is out. We'll start with the Celtics side of the ball. The Spurs are just, everybody loves playing the Spurs. It's just a fantastic matchup. With Jaylen Brown now back in the lineup, sharing with Jason Tatum, who hasn't been playing the Jason Tatum that we thought we were going to get. I don't really want to run to either of them, but they're both in a smash spot, so you can take a double take to them. Double take, but I don't really love them. I would prefer Tatum at the $800 more price tag, just because Brown's just coming off of a long layoff. But don't love going there at the same time. Dennis Schroeder at 66. Do like going here. I know Brown's back, but he still played 36 minutes against Brooklyn in the last one, while he only brought back 20 and 26 fantasy points the last 2 games. He was on fire before that, with or without Brown. And seeing 36 minutes with Brown is very enticing to me. I know he didn't take a bunch of shots. He was only 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. But that 36 minutes is enticing, and that can make me swallow that $6,600 price tag there. Marcus Smart is only 54. He also has been playing a lot, pretty well there. But he's 5,400. This is a fantastic matchup for him. He is worth taking a flyer on. Grant Williams, 3,900. Might be getting a lot more minutes if Rob is not playing. Minutes in the 20s to 30. He makes sense as a flyer option. Though, again, I think we do have too much value at under 4K that we don't have to go there. But he's just other option. I do prefer Smart. I know it's $1,500 more, but I do prefer Smart if you can get there, and Schroeder as the guys that I'm targeting over here. On the other side of the ball, we have possibly Vassell's out. That helps people like Lonnie Walker. That helps Derek White have to stay on the floor even if he's shooting poorly like he did in the last one, 33 of 12. He still played 30 minutes. Vassell plays a lot of minutes, and then they play similar positions. So if Vassell is out, Derek White at 5,300, I really like that price tag. And Jakob Poeltl at 5,700, especially if Rob Williams isn't out. This guy should not be this cheap. He's just coming back from a long layoff. He played a couple games. I played one, then missed one, and then has played the last two, 15 and 9, and then 15 and 10 the last two games at 31 and 29 minutes. He should not be 5,700. This is a fantastic price tag. In those last two games, he's brought back 28 and 32 fantasy points, and that's just him just starting to get his win back. So especially if Rob Williams doesn't play, the matchup gets even much better for him. I love Jakob Poeltl here. I don't think we have to go to Murray. It is a solid matchup. He's going to see a lot of Smart, though. But I think 50 points is doable for him. He's brought back at least 54 points in 4 of the last 5 games. So he'll be in play. But I think if you want to go for the value, it's Poeltl and it's White if there's no Vassell here. Just makes a ton of sense. And I guess if you wanted to throw Lonnie Walker in that under 4K pool again, I do like other options better, but you can throw him in there. All right. First game at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Denver Nuggets. On the injury report, Brook Lopez is still, we don't know. DiVincenzo is still out as well. And then and Semi Ojeleye is out for the Bucks as well. On Denver side of the ball, we know Michael Porter Jr., PJ Dozier, Jamal Murray are not going to make their way back anytime soon. Bones Highland missed a couple games there. He might be out. And then Jokic's been missing a few games here, so we'll see if he's back for this one. If Jokic is not back for this one, I unfortunately don't want to play Giannis at 12-12 or Middleton, even though his price tag is good. It's just I don't think this game is going to stay competitive long enough for them to play 35 minutes if there's no Jokic. They're already beat up so badly, the Nuggets are, that if they don't have Jokic, there's no way this is going to stay competitive for me enough to spend 12-12. So that's the big news. Is Jokic in or Jokic out? That's going to change both teams. I'm not going to get much exposure. I don't think they need to really run Bobby Portis to the ground either. Even Drew Holiday. A lot of these guys I'm not going to take chances on. I wouldn't mind taking one on Grayson Allen at 5,200, even though his minutes have been down the last couple games, especially with Chris Middleton back. I think he could see more minutes if this turns into a blowout. So I don't mind taking a chance there or like a Pat Connaughton, but I'm not in love with anybody on this Milwaukee side at all until we know what Jokic is doing. If Jokic is in, then I'll take it. Then I can play Giannis. Then I can look at Holiday a bit more, but I won't want anything to do with them if there's no Jokic. That said, on the other side of the ball, if Jokic is healthy, I do like some Jokic. It's a good matchup for him. No Brook Lopez. He can take advantage of Bobby Portis here, but I don't know how healthy his wrist is. I don't know what's going on. We just lost another guy in PJ Dozier, so we'll keep an eye on that. But if there is no Jokic, I mean, everybody's up for grabs. We might not have Bones Highland in this one too. We'll see if he plays at the minimum 3K. More minutes are available for him without PJ Dozier there. So I like him. Campazzo at 3,500. You can take a chance on him. More minutes are available now, and then there might not be the other two guys that he's competing for backup minutes with. Same with Austin Rivers. Might not be 2 guys he's competing backup minutes with. Will Barton is the alpha and the omega. I do prefer Aaron Gordon in this matchup. I think he's just going to play a lot anyway, and we could see more point Gordon. But there are a lot of guys. Monte Morris, don't hate him here. But I'd probably just go straight for all the value here. Green at 3,800, Campazzo 35, Rivers at 34, Highland Bones if he plays at 3K. There's going to be a lot of value if there's no Jokic. And again, if Bones doesn't play, Rivers, Campazzo, they're going to have to play a lot of minutes there. Maybe Zeke Naji, now that he's back, is going to get a good chunk. A lot to think about. And even if he doesn't, he's been bringing back 20 points in the last couple games that he's played. In his last 3 games, 20, 18, 15 minutes, he's brought back at least 20 fantasy points. So Zeke makes sense as well if there's no Jokic. So a lot to decipher, but it all depends on the big guy's status, if he's in or out, and Bones to a lesser degree. All right, jumping on over to the next side of the ball. We have the New Orleans Pelicans traveling to Utah to take
Is that Dunkin's new holiday blend coffee?
Sure is. Because sometimes the holidays just call for Dunkin'.
What's in it? A spark of holiday spirit?
A cup full of holiday cheer?
Your very own holiday shopper?
Actually, all that. And notes of molasses and dried fruit. Just the warming blend I need for that holiday hustle.
Sit through the holidays with the $2 medium holiday blend coffee at Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Exclusions apply.
Hello, Discover here to explain our cash back match. Here's how it works. We give you cash back for using your Discover card on the things you were going to buy anyway. Then we match that cash back in your first year. And that's why we call it Cashback Match. Now to recap and say cashback one more time. We match all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year automatically. Discover. Exceptionally common sense. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
The Jazz. We know that Zion is out for this one. We know that on the Jazz, they don't really have anybody out, but they could just sit someone, have someone get in a couple extra days rest. You never know. It is the Pelicans, though they've been playing a little bit better. They've been trying a little bit harder, but still is the Pelicans. That said, we'll start with the Pelicans side of the ball. Don't really want to go to Ingram, don't want to go to J-Val, don't want to go to Devontae Graham, even if he plays. Nicole Alexander-Walker, not really. He came off the bench the other night. Probably going to continue to do that. Don't really want to go there. I do like some Josh Hart. That's the only guy I would consider here at 5,600. He's just been playing really, really well. 5 out of the last 6 games, he's brought back at least 35 fantasy points, and he's only 5,600. Yes, the matchup is daunting against this Jazz squad, but he's doing a little bit of everything. He's not taking a ton of shots. Only 2 times in those games that I just mentioned has he had double-digit shots, but he's grabbing rebounds as we know he always does. He's getting a lot of assists, nearly 4 assists in the last 10 days in the last 6 games. And he's taking on a bigger role on offense, initiating. And then he gets about 2 steals and a block a game. He does defensive work. We know he gets 7 rebounds a game. He's been really, really solid here. And at 5,600, he's beaten that price tag 4 to the last 5 out of the last 6 games. So I could expect that to continue. And he didn't just beat that price tag; he beat it by 10 points or more. So that's my favorite guy on this side of the ball. Oof. And let's jump on over to the Utah side. Very good matchup for Utah. We can look at a Rudy Gobert here to be Rudy Gobert. J-Val and him both rip down boards. I think they're both going to get a lot of them, but Gobert at 8,200, it's a really good matchup. And Mitchell's only $200 more than him. Mitchell can easily exceed 45, 50 fantasy points in this matchup if it stays close long enough. It is in Utah, so that does give me slight pause there, but I like both those guys as higher priced options on this slate. And I'll probably leave it to them. The Jazz don't have deep pockets here, but you can go there. You can go right at their high guys in a matchup that they should be able to score 125 to 130 actual points in this game. All right, I'm jumping on over to we have 2 games left on the docket of the night. The next game is at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the Portland Trailblazers taking on the Golden State Warriors in Golden State. On the injury report for Portland, we have Anthony Simons, missed the last one, and the Warriors, Klay Thompson, James Wiseman, both out. Everybody else is healthy. So this is a pretty healthy matchup here. We saw Damien Lillard have a big game last night. 56 fantasy points. He's done that twice in the last 3 games. So he's starting to heat up. starting to heat up here. He's been consistently dropping over 40 now. And again, 2 out of the last 3 games over 56. Oh, I need a drink. Much better. Don't fully want to run here to him, though, but he does love playing against Steph Curry, so that's something to keep an eye on. But I don't really want to run to him for 10K here. He will be in my player because I like him more than a little bit more than other people around that range, but I don't want to run to him. Most of this team, I'm not going to run to him. I don't know why I'm using that phrase, but I'm not going to. Larry Nance Jr. would be one guy I like at 3,800. We started to see his minutes climb, and then the last 3 games they started dipping back to where they weren't climbing again. Not sure what happened there, but if he can get back to 25 minutes, he's going to beat that $3,800 price tag. I think that's too cheap. Robert Covington at 4K. The Warriors like to play Dre a lot at center, so at 4K we could see a lot of really small ball lineups with Covington at center, even though Nance probably gets more there. But I don't mind going him there. He did just lay a dud, 0 of 1 shooting in 15 minutes in the last one because he was ejected. But before that, 4 straight games of 24 or more fantasy points and only 4K. Gotta love that value there. Bringing back value each game there. I like those 2 guys, Nance and Covington, and we'll see. And I'll keep Lillard on my player pool there. On the other side of the ball, love Curry in this matchup. Love Curry in every matchup. The guy's just phenomenal. He's been on fire, but he loves playing as much as Lillard loves playing against him. He also loves doing it back. And the Blazers are not nearly the defensive team that the Warriors are. I know the price is expensive at 11.4, but you got to love Curry in this matchup to go off. And Draymond Green at 6.7. That's a fair price tag for him. He's taken a very, 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 very big backseat in the offensive game. He just doesn't shoot the ball. That's the only knock on him right now. He doesn't shoot the ball, but he does everything else. Grabs rebounds, dishes out assists. They run a lot of offense through him. And then he gets defensive stats. He's not getting as many defensive stats as we would have hoped or expected from him this year. Under a block a game and just over a steal a game. But a couple of defensive stats here and there, and we could expect value here since he's just consistently bringing back 30 points. The last 6 games, at least 30 fantasy points. And this is a good matchup for him. And those are I'm just sticking to the top dogs here in Curry and Dre over here. All right, jumping on over to the last game of the night. We have the Sacramento Kings taking on the Los Angeles Lakers at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the injury report, we have Harrison Barnes got hurt in the last one, right foot injury on Wednesday. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. And Rashawn Holmes missed the game, the last one with an eye injury. On the Lakers side of the ball, we saw Anthony Davis miss the last one, but LeBron returned, and Austin Reeves is out. Kendrick Nunn, Trevor Ariza are out right now, and Austin Reeves, I should say, is questionable. All right, we'll start with the Kings side of the ball. Obviously, that Barnes-Holmes situation is something to monitor. If Holmes is out, we saw Alex Len draw the start. Tristan Thompson play a good role. We saw Bagley play a decent chunk. He had 10 points, 8 boards. We saw Medu not even see the floor. So something interesting there. He hasn't seen the floor in the last 2 games. Again, something interesting there. So coach change. Medu has not played yet. He was playing pretty well before that too. So that is weird. But if Holmes doesn't play, that does open up things for Alex Len. That does open up things for Thompson and Bagley as well. 3 guys, 2 of them 3,200 or under, and then Bagley at 4.2. All makes sense to me. This is a very good matchup regardless. Probably Tristan Thompson is could get a double-double in this. So I would look at any of those 3 guys. If Barnes doesn't play, that opens up a lot of minutes for Buddy Hield. That opens up a lot of minutes for Davion Mitchell. Davion Mitchell's only 3,400. Buddy Hield is 5,800. This is going to be a very high-scoring game. Both these teams just give up points in bunches and play fast. So Those two guys, Holmes and Barnes, are crucial to see who's in and who's out. If Holmes is in, I really love that price tag love that price tag at 6,200. A lot of these guys on this side of the ball, I am keying on. Halliburton makes a lot of sense. Fox at only 7,700. We know he can beat that price tag. But Buddy Hield at 58, love him, especially if Barnes doesn't play. He might draw the start. There's a lot of guys to look here. I'm not really looking at Mo Harkless, though he's starting, and he's only 3K. Still don't love him here. If you really have to do it, go for it. But if Holmes is out, I'd much prefer Len, Thompson, or Bagley here. Probably in the order of Thompson, Len, and Bagley. But yeah, those two guys are big news to keep an eye on because it shakes up a lot of this rotation. And against the Lakers and how they give up points, that is a lot of value to be had there if they don't play. And if they do play, Holmes makes I love Holmes in this matchup. Right on the other side of the ball, we have Anthony Davis was questionable, or he missed the last one. He's probably going to be questionable for this one. So we definitely have to know what's going on with AD because we know LeBron James makes an absurd amount of sense in this matchup if AD isn't there. He, after his 1-game suspension, shot 13 of 29 from the field. He had 39 actual points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds in a win against Indiana. 61 fantasy points. Yes, you can definitely play him if there's no AD again at 10-5. Just makes a lot of sense. If AD does play and there's no Richaun Holmes, he makes a ton of sense here. Even with Holmes, he makes sense, but makes much more sense as well without him at 10-8. He's just going to feast. Russell Westbrook, I'll only play if there's no AD. If there's all three of them, I'm going to leave him alone. But yeah, it all depends on AD. If he plays, I like him. If he doesn't, LeBron James. LeBron makes sense too, but they just get a big bump, obviously, without AD there. Outside of that, Carmelo Anthony, Malik Monk. Monk has been earning himself minutes in the 30s the last 2 games. He's been shooting pretty well. 11 of 25 from the field. He's made 4 threes in the last one, especially in the last one. He shot 6-11 from the field. But 29.5 and 31 fantasy points, so he's averaging 30 fantasy points the last 2 games, while Avery Bradley and Horton Tucker struggle from the field. We could see Monk maybe find himself in the starting lineup because they have been starting slow, or just continue to play 30 minutes if he's shooting pretty good and Bradley and Horton Tucker don't shoot themselves out of that slump yet. So a 4,400 makes a lot of sense. And Carmelo Anthony would make sense if Anthony Davis doesn't play. So those are things to keep an eye on. But I think Monk is a guy that we can plug and play regardless. But we'll just see. Obviously, without AD, that's a lot of shots and usage to go around. And minutes, the whole entire rotation will shuffle around. Without AD, Howard and Jordan become desperation options under 4K there. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. That does it for the Thanksgiving special episode of Sports Ethos Today. This, again, is for your Friday, November 26th slate. We did this one super early so you can catch it through the holidays or whenever you have free time. Tune in, catch us on Discord. You'll see all the breaking news, and we could reshuffle things if needed. And we got an article coming out today or tomorrow by Panji. Keep an eye on that for favorite plays and everything like that. And thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it. We will catch you again on Saturday. Have a good one. Peace.